Holograms are a thing that we are mostly familiar with because of science fiction movies that take place in a super technologically advanced future time. But holograms are not a thing of fiction anymore, and in fact, you will be surprised to find that they haven't been for many years. Today we present to you the top 10 most advanced and breathtaking holograms that are in use right now. Number 1. Pepper's Ghost. Although you might think that the appearance of Tupac at Coachella in 2012 and the appearance of Michael Jackson at the Billboard in 2014 were proof that technology is moving fast and can recreate the dead, you will be surprised to know that this technique actually dates way back to the Victorian era, specifically 1862. An English scientist named John Henry Pepper used it to create illusions of ghosts and other things on stage, simply by putting a brightly lit figure out of the audience's sight, which was reflected on a pane of glass that was placed between the performer and the audience. The whole illusion is that the audience doesn't see the glass. Back to the present era, the MDH hologram was the first company that managed to master photorealistic and flexible hologram technology, which can be used in performance venues. They use high-end motion capture technology and 3D CGI, so they digitally resurrect a person from head to toe and then project them to an almost completely invisible pane of glass. Number 2. Digital Holographic Tabletop. Now, if you think of Tony Stark while looking at this, we won't blame you. And even though we are probably still far away from creating holographic tables that look like this, a lot of progress has been made in order to achieve this level of perfect sci-fi technology. Specifically, a team from South Korea managed to create the world's first hologram table that can be viewed simultaneously from 360 degrees, so literally from every angle possible. In order to create that, they used a series of multicolored, high-powered lasers and a high-speed rotating mirror display, which was built into the tabletop. The floating image relies on diffraction generated by the interference between the mini lasers in the complex system, so you can now understand that this is reaching a whole new level from the previous fake images that are just projected in a glass. Number 3. Hologram. The brainchild of the artist Joni Lemercer, the hologram is named like this because she doesn't want to be associated with the misleading use of the word hologram. She uses common tracking technologies like depth sensor and image analysis in order to allow interaction between the viewer and the projections. And she is using various techniques to create the holograms themselves. Some of them are the classic Pepper's Ghost, which we talked about earlier, as well as semi-transparent screens, mirrors, and lenses. But what she really wants to do is break the 2D projections, and for that she developed a technique using fine particles of water, high-pressure gas, and custom nozzles, all in order to create true volumetric projections that have no limit in size. Number 4. The Ariel Burton Laser Plasma Holograph. Burton Inc. is located in Japan, and they are proud innovators who managed to succeed in creating true 3D display using plasma technology. This creates amazing opportunities for further creations because the light can be viewed without the need to bounce off of any surface and use mirrors or glass. Specifically, the technology they use is a 1 kilowatt infrared laser, which is focused on direct points in the air by a 3D scanner. This causes the molecules in the air to be ionized and thus create a plasma. Now, we can't imagine all the possibilities that this opens, but we're sure they are going to be more than impressive. Number 5. Fan Holograms. What we call fan holograms are the types of displays that produce a hologram that is seemingly floating in the air. This is achieved by having strips of RGB LEDs attached to the blades of the fan and a control unit that lights up the pixels as the fan turns around, and so producing a full picture. Quite often, these types of holograms are used in special events or even at theme parks. But relatively recent, there has been a new device that goes around that is known as the Hypervan Wall, which creates full HD images that can be over 3 meters tall and gives the appearance of floating on air. To succeed in this, the device only uses 65 watts of power. Incredible! Number 6. Touchable Holograms. When we talk about holograms, the basic understanding that we have is that you can see them, but you cannot touch them. But that's not always true, surprisingly. By using tactile technology which creates haptic feedback, researchers at the University of Bristol's Department of Computer Science managed to create a 3D shape in midair that can be not only touched but actually felt by the human hand. Although gamers will immediately think how much games can improve using this technology, entertainment is not the only industry that can be benefited from such a discovery in the future. Just imagine doctors looking at a 3D projection of a tumor before an operation, or actually being able to touch artifacts that are located in museums. The possibilities are endless and all of them useful. Number 7. Inform. Researchers at MIT have this incredible idea that they actually managed to bring to life, and we are most excited about it. They created something they called Inform, which is a tangible Inform dynamic shape display. What is that exactly? Well, Inform can render the shapes of people and objects on surfaces by using up to 900 motor-driven columns in a tiny area, and so sculpting shapes in real life. Imagine being miles away from your loved one and being able to touch the shape of their face. Or even better, imagine what architects could do with technology like this. Specifically, what they propose is utilizing shape displays in 3 different ways to mediate interaction, to facilitate by providing dynamic physical affordances through shape change, to restrict by guiding users with dynamic physical constraints, and to manipulate by actuating physical objects. Number 8. Voxon VX1. Volumetric holograms already sound cool, but wait until you see exactly what that means. Voxon VX1 display uses an ultra-high-speed digital light engine along with a highly optimized volume rendering engine in order to create and project over 500,000 points of light into a volumetric space every second. The hundreds of digital cross-sections of an image are projected at the same time into a specially designed high-speed reciprocating screen, and as the photons of light hit it, they diffuse and form a physical cross-sectional image at the right place and the right time, thus tricking our eyes into blending all those layers into a single 3D image that can be viewed without special glasses. Number 9. Fairy lights. Although it is not a fairy tale, it does sound like a sci-fi story, but it's not science fiction anymore. It's now actually science fact. Similarly to the holograms you can touch, fairy lights can also be touched and felt, and according to the team behind this discovery, they kind of feel like sandpaper, which makes sense if you think that what you are touching is actually laser dots. The researchers at Digital Nature Group found a way to create these 3D interactive holograms, which are comprised of tiny points of light plasma and are called voxels. In order to do this, they use femtosecond lasers that create these 3D-dimensional images with resolutions up to the staggering number of 200,000 dots per second. A femtosecond is a quadrillionth of a second. This is just completely and utterly mind-blowing. Number 10. The Euclidean Hologram Table. This might not have the technology that the digital holographic tabletop has, but it is just as useful and impressive, we might add, as any other hologram on our list. The Euclidean Hologram Table is an immersive multi-user system that coordinates atoms of light with uses of algorithm that can handle up to 1,000 gigabytes of graphic data. That creates images that are not only stunning, but also super handy. They can be used in architecture and government and military and smart cities, and of course in entertainment, real estate, museums, live shows and conferences, as well as in arcades, and surprisingly, even in restaurants. Which hologram from our list made you go, wow? And which one do you think it would prove to be the most useful in our future? Let us know in the comments below.